We live from the lab with Capitals Talk and All-Star Game wrap-up for Sports on the Hill podcast, episode 86. Capitals had one game last week. We were talking about the crazy schedule, and we realized that it was the All-Star weekend. So they faced the the Florida Panthers. They fared pretty well. It was a 4-2 victory. I'll let Robbie share the Facebook Live feed before we get into the breakdown. But this game, we were wondering how they would come out because of the previous 3-game losing streak and not being consistent, not playing defense. And we had a healthy debate about Kuzi and Burakovsky's ineffectiveness and inconsistency. And in this game, once Robbie breaks down the scoring, you'll see that they did play a lot better and, show that they are trying to do better going into the second half of the season, because without them stepping up and playing consistent, this team isn't going to go far in the playoffs, especially with New Jersey right on their heels playing as well as they're playing in a tough Metro division. So, Rob, you ready to go down scoring of this game?
I am. I've shared it to a couple of groups. If anybody in any of those groups want to get in, ask us any questions on my Carol's Facebook Live feed, you can follow us in a bunch of different Caps groups, and you can also follow on his feed. And I'll share it onto the page in just a minute. But the scoring, John Carlson played really, really great in this game. That you'll see, he's my star of the game. But we'll get through the scoring real quick. At 11:02, they opened the scoring with a goal. Again, this game was in Florida. So anyway, it started 1-0. Nicholas Backstrom, his 10th goal of the season on the power play was an assist to Kuzi and Ovechkin. Made it 1-1. It was Kuzi's 31st assist. And it was Ovechkin's 23rd assist. She's done very well this season. But the more important thing was it was Ovechkin's 500th all-time assist. He's only the second Capitals player to ever do that, joining Nicholas Backstrom, who only has about 60-some-odd more assists than Ovechkin. I always think Nick has hundreds more assists than Ovi, but Ovi's actually less than 100 behind him. But anyway, they 1-1. It was an important goal. They unfortunately scored again, 6-4 into the second to make it 2-1. Ovi scored himself his 30th goal of the season. Assist by Brooks Orpik, 8, and Madison Bowie's 11th to make it 2-2 to tie the game again. It's important because now Ovechkin has had 30 goals, and I believe it's 13 seasons in a row, and he joins only 2 other players in history to have done that. So he broke 2 milestones in one game, and then John Carlson at 17:38 in the second made it 3-2. It's just by your guy, Tom Wilson, and Kuzi. It was Tom Wilson's 14th, Kuzi's 32nd. Carlson's 7th goal of the season, 3-2, 17:38 again. Great play. And then the 1:52 into the third, Brett Conley scores his 13th goal of the season, also on the power play. And assist to Andre Burakovsky, his 6th assist, and Lars Eller, his 13th. Washington won that game 4-2. So I want to start with that line because, Carol, I know it was a power play goal, but that's the trio that I really want to see together. Conley, Burakovsky, and Eller. They had some good chemistry last season. I know off air we were talking about how we thought that Burakovsky wasn't playing so well lately, and we needed to light a fire under his ass, and we needed to actually get a good game out of him. But I know this is the 4th goal in the game, but I thought it was a very timely goal to make it very different, 3-2 and 4-2, especially with the rest of the third. So what are some of your thoughts on that game?
Well, I did enjoy seeing those two, step up. Kuzi had got moved up to the top line, which you had, alluded to a couple of times, which, like I said, I don't have a problem with him moving to the top line, but we need him to be effective on that second line. We need him to be consistent on that second line. So just because you're on the line with Nick and Ovi doesn't mean you still, you should step up your game. You should step up your game. You're on that second line because, you're the $7 million man. You're supposed to be the leader of that line. And Andre, like I said, I don't really have a problem with Andre. I'm just tired of waiting on the potential. We've seen flashes of what he can do, and we need to see it on a constant basis. The defense, I know he's not a defensive player, but he has to play better in a defensive zone. Going at it halfway, going to the boards, not checking, puck gets loose. Next thing you know, it's traffic in front, and it's a goal. So it was good to see them step up, good to see them, get on the score sheet and show that they wanted to be out there. But as Craig Loughlin said on the show during the game, that you can tell the difference when Kuzi wants the puck and when he's just out there. And he wanted the puck that night. Now he needs to want the puck every night in order for this team to win. Robbie, did you double mute yourself again, Robbie?
I did. I got a message. I didn't want the clacking of my keys. Yes, a good question. But I definitely, I love both of these players, Kuzi and Burakovsky, so I give them a huge benefit of the doubt. I want Burakovsky to work on the second line, but I really like him on the third line, and other people need to step up and match up with Kuzi on that second line and make it a dominant line. And I think TJ Oshie needs to be reunited with Nicholas Backstrom and Ovechkin. It worked last season. I think they could bring TJ Oshie out of his funk. I think that they just got to have two people step up and deal with Kuzi on that second line, or you move that Kuzi line down to the third line and have Lars Eller, Brett Conley, Burakovsky as that second line. And I know it seems crazy to have Kuzi as a $7 million player as a third center, but the best teams have three great centers all the way down the line. So if we want to win the cup, we're going to have to produce from all three lines. So maybe, as a wake-up call to Kuzi, they move that to the third line, experiment with it a little bit, and they give Brett Conley, Lars Eller more time. They've been producing real well with Burakovsky and see what happens. And, it's worth a shot to hopefully get Burakovsky going again.
It's worth a shot. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just tired of waiting on the potential. And, Kuzi shown flashes. Last season, he had a good season. He did okay in the playoffs. Andre was in and out, inconsistent. He's still young. I understand that. But something has to click. Some of these other young guys, are out there doing it for their team on a consistent basis. He has to do the same thing. And if not, you can't keep on letting these guys just do the status quo and go out there because that's who we know and that's who we're familiar with. That's what makes the difference in regular teams and winning teams. Those winning teams aren't afraid to, hurt somebody's feelings or, sit somebody down if they're not playing well. And that's what the Caps have to do. I know they've been patient. There's been a lot of line shifting. But there comes a time, especially now after the All-Star break, and we mentioned the schedule last week, how tough it's going to be going into February. So, I mean, it's either put up or shut up. If you're not producing, you need to sit down and get somebody in that is producing.
Yeah, it's been real frustrating for me because I believe, I don't know, a lot of people didn't believe that we could be very good this season. I thought we could because we retained a lot of core players, and I thought if some of the young guys stepped up, it would be a big difference. And all the young guys have stepped up, and I think that the team is gelling and they're actually producing better than most people had expected up until this point. Now, they're going to have a couple of really tough games in this upcoming stretch, so we're going to learn a lot about how this team is going to face down the stretch and maybe into the playoffs. We're in, I think it's the toughest division. I know there's some arguments to be had there, but this first game right off the bat with Philadelphia is going to be tough. Maybe we should just break down their upcoming schedule first, and then we'll get to the All-Star game talk. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's cool.
And so the Flyers have been playing really well lately. They're definitely a different team than they have been in seasons past. They're always a very physical team. They beat us 2-1 on Sunday, January 21st. So, again, this game is on Wednesday. I believe it's a rivalry night game on national TV. They basically, their last 5 games, the only game they lost was to Tampa Bay on Thursday, January 25th, the last game before the All-Star break. But they had won their previous 4 games. They lost one at the Rangers, and then they had won the previous 4 games to that. So if you're looking at the last 10, they've won 8 of them. and have been pretty dominant in some of those games. And they've beaten some pretty good teams. They beat Toronto, New Jersey, us, Detroit, the Islanders, St. Louis, Buffalo, and New Jersey. So they're definitely going to be a tough team. They play tough, physical, that is. It's going to be an 8 o'clock game on Wednesday, again, January 31st, and it is on NBC. What is your thoughts, Carol, about that game on Wednesday?
Well, we got a preview of it on that Sunday game with that 2-1 overtime loss that the Caps took. It's going to be a tight game. Depending on who's in net. If they got Elliott in net again, he's going to be up for the task. And you're going to have to give that same effort they gave against Florida. They're kind of similar teams, Florida and Philly, except Philly is bigger and a little bit more physical. Florida is faster. But they both have that tenacious D in your face, and they're going to stack up at the blue line and dare you to put it in deep and chip and chase. So it's going to be an interesting chess match, especially with them playing, on a couple of Sundays ago. So it's definitely going to be interesting. It might be heated. Hopefully my man Tom drops the gloves if he have to, because Wayne Simmons gets on my damn nerves, and he need to drop Wayne one time for me, for real.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Philadelphia definitely has a tough schedule ahead of themselves. After that, they're going to have to play New Jersey, Ottawa, Carolina. So they play a back-to-back. So, obviously the Flyers want to come out strong against us. The game is in Washington, so I'm excited about that. So we've got some other big games coming up. The game is usually the matinee before the Super Bowl is the game against the Pittsburgh Penguins on national TV. That's what they've been doing for a bunch of years, Washington versus Pittsburgh. But this year they're doing something different. They're moving that Pittsburgh game, since it's in Pittsburgh, they always give the Caps a home game on Super Bowl Sunday, it seems. So the game at Pittsburgh is on Friday. They always try to play around this time of the year. And that's going to be a big-time matchup because Pittsburgh hasn't been playing well, but you know that the All-Star break and people get healthy, and Sidney Crosby and Ovechkin played on the same line, which we'll talk about in a minute. So it'll be an interesting matchup. Just a couple of games in. Again, we have to play both Pennsylvania teams back-to-back. This one's on Friday, February 2nd, so Thursday off in between, and a travel day to get to Pittsburgh. That game's going to be at 7 p.m. Carol, what are your thoughts on the Penguins?
Just like you said, they haven't been playing real well and consistent, but they always get up for the Caps, and the Caps always get up for them. And it's the second half of the season, so that's when they're going to get ready to get it in gear and get in their playoff run mode and do what they normally do. So it's going to be another tough matchup. Ovi always likes to show out in Pittsburgh, so hopefully we can get a nice Ovi show out there, get a couple of goals, maybe even get a hat trick in that game.
Yeah, that would be nice. I have a very fond memory of going to a hat-trick game against Sidney Crosby. He got one too, but we at least got that David Steffel goal I'll never forget. I hope that we always beat Pittsburgh, especially in Pittsburgh. It'll be a big-time matchup. And then the last one is Sunday, February 4th, and that's the Vegas game. Vegas comes to town, first time ever playing in Washington. We see the return of Nate Schmidt, who I miss dearly, but he's having a good time out in Vegas. They're a really good team. They're the number one team in the league. Most power rankings have them in the top three. In the standings, they're number one, and they've just been playing out of their minds good. And no one thought an expansion team could ever be this good. They beat us pretty badly when we played in Vegas a couple of months back. But yeah, it's at 12:30 on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Get your day started early with some hockey. 12:30. I know I'll definitely be watching that and throwing a party for both that and the Super Bowl later that night. But Vegas is really good, Carol. What do we have to do to beat them?
They're a solid team. Like you said, it's not known or not regular for an expansion team to play this well, but when you take a look at it, most of these guys are, cast off with talent that had big salary cap numbers or that's been around the league, and teams just thought, I just tossed these guys out there for the expansion draft. and they have a solid game. They are a solid team. They play good defense. They have a quality goalie and Fleury with him having two, 3 rings. So he's back healthy, and maybe hopefully it'll be a different game here because a lot of folks been talking about the Vegas hangover when folks go out there, but them having that impressive home record that maybe the players been out there partying in Vegas the night before, and that's why they getting beat so bad in Vegas. So maybe the Caps can turn that tide and get a victory on Super Bowl Sunday. Unfortunately, I'll have to work and miss the first game, but I'll definitely be catching the Super Bowl later on that evening.
Yeah, I will definitely watch both games and make a big deal about it. But yeah, I'm excited. I will definitely DVR it for Carroll so he can watch it maybe afterwards. But it should be a good matchup. I'm excited. We're hoping to have Carroll live in the man cave, helping us next week break down the Super Bowl and that game and all those games we've been talking about so far in this Capitals talk next week. So that'll be fun. Hopefully we can do we haven't done Facebook Live together in a little bit, and it'll be fun to do that. And so it's a bunch of really exciting matchups coming up. I wanted to go over the the points in the divisions real fast, and we'll get some All-Star coverage. The Caps are leading 63 in the Metropolitan going into the All-Star break. The Lightning lead the Eastern Conference at 71. The Bruins are right behind at 66. They're on a pretty big tear themselves. Maple Leafs are 61 in the Atlantic, followed by the Red Wings. But a lot of people are saying there's a seller of the trade deadline. There's a lot of rumors that Mike Green might try to come back to the Capitals. A lot of people wanted Ovi's been trying to get it to happen. A lot of people trying to get it to happen. Get a prorated contract somehow. Make some moves and make some things to try to make it happen. But it's probably a long shot, but I know that Ovechkin's been actively lobbying for it. So, we'll see. I would love Mike Green back. I'll be honest.
Long shot ain't even a word. His salary cap number is not.
I see the numbers, Carol. They're not bad. It's prorated. It's halfway through the season. You only have to pay like $1.2 million, which we can afford.
I don't know, man. I mean, his problem was playing defense. We don't need more offensive defensemen. We need defensive defensemen.
Ovechkin thinks that he would get 30 more goals this season. That's what he said.
Oh, man. It depends on what we got to give up.
It depends on what we got to give up. I agree. But I just wanted we don't talk about the politics, but I thought it was pretty funny at the All-Star game that he was actively lobbying, and they were so buddy-buddy after the 100-mile-per-hour shot. Like, they were giving each other fist bumps, and, Ovechkin wants it back. Whether or not we can make it happen for him, I don't know. But at least that makes me feel good that there's no ill will between them, for all, taking the money and running. So,
it's a business.
I don't blame Green either. He got paid $7 million. I want him for $3 million. So there's a big disparity between those two numbers.
Yeah.
But if we could get him on the cheap and try to do some salary cap pushes and stuff like that, I'm willing to take a chance. Carol, at some point it's just got to be do or die. I know you don't like offensive defensemen, but he's been playing better defense overall. And if he's going to do that, I think, I'm willing to give him a chance.
Well, I don't mind offensive defensemen, but you just got to play defense sometime, and he would never play defense on a constant basis. And that's what I would hate about him, that especially on the power play. He'll get a chance to clear the puck, and he'll muff it or try to make a fancy play and turn it over and end up in a goal. I just want him to play solid defense. I love the offensive output, but like Carlson, he has great numbers offensively, and he's stellar on defense a lot. I say 90% of the time. I'm not even asking for that. I'm asking for 65. Just give me 65% of the time, solid defense, and keep producing offensively, and I can deal with that. But Green was more about 45, about 40, 45 when he was here on defense.
I agree, but I'm hoping that he's improved defensively while he played with them. I've always been a big fan. I'm very biased. I have a signed my Green picture in my wall in the man cave. I would love for that to become relevant again. But I agree it's a long shot, but it is interesting to watch Ovechkin try to lobby for it, for sure. In the Eastern, so we gave the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, the Jets are the top team, the Central, and the North Knights, as we talked about before, is the top team in the Pacific Division. All right, so I just want to get into some quick, 5-10 minutes of the All-Star Game talk real fast, and then we'll get into some basketball talk as well. Carol, were you able to watch any of the skills competition?
No, I missed the skills competition, but I definitely caught a couple of the 3-on-3, and we can definitely talk about those. I saw that Ovechkin won the fastest, hardest shot, but I didn't get a chance to check out all the skills competition.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed watching the entire skills competition. I've always been a big fan of it. It kind of reminds me of the Olympics, especially this year that the NHL players aren't going to the Olympics. It was kind of the closest that you can get. I'll just go through the games just real fast on the winners and not go too much into it, but just Drew Doughty had a passing challenge. It was a pretty amazing thing. PK Subban had a great shootout distraction when he tried to do this. There was the shootout streak. So it's a new competition where goalies have to try to save as many shootout attempts in a row as possible. And Marc-Andre Fleury was able to do it, I think, with 14 saves in a row after PK Rennie did 13 saves in a row. And this was like an entire team of all-stars trying to go and do their best moves against them. Both of them were played amazing. And then Ovechkin became the first forward to win the hardest shot contest since 2002 when Sergei Fedorov did it. So I have to, it's pretty awesome that there's only been 3, I think, in history in the forwards, or some ridiculously low number ever to win it. It's almost always defensive players, which is interesting at their shot. It's harder, but they have to do it from the point, so they're more used to the sort of run-up slap shot model that it is for this. I mean, Ovechkin, I think, could go a lot higher than 101 if someone were to pass him like a Nick Backstrom instead of it being a stationary object, because he uses momentum against it to even get more torque on the shot. But he was able to get about 98 on the first one, which is pretty awesome because it beat everybody else. It was 98.8. The next time was 98.6. And he went last again, just as a showboat round, and he knew that he wanted to beat triple digits. He wouldn't want to win it with 98. So he put all he had into it. 101.3 miles per hour was the final that won it. It was really exciting. I did a video of it. Check it out on our Facebook page, facebook.com/SportsOTHP. Got like 500 views, and definitely check it out. Ovi had a great goal. I highly recommend it. It was very entertaining. And then Brock Beausier, I don't even know, he's a rookie, but for Vancouver, and he won the accuracy shooting contest, which had these 5 lights that would go around. If you hit it, it would stop, and he hit 5 in a row, and he did it in like 12 seconds. He like crushed everybody. That was pretty entertaining to watch. And there was the fastest skater, which Connor McDavid, in 2 opportunities, has won it now both times back-to-back years. So he's a phenom and pretty amazing. So and again, so Marc-Andre Fleury won the save competition 14 in a row. Rene had 13, and Lundqvist had 5 saves in a row, just to give you an idea of the next highest. So 13 and 14 was absolutely insane. They went through a round of players without anyone getting a goal. And there was 8 players in a row. So they actually got to go to bonus time, and that's how they were able to get to 13. And then Fleury got 14. So anyway, I just wanted to go through some of the fun skills competition stuff, and we'll get into the All-Star game itself. The first matchup was between the 2 teams in the West. Carol, you said you watched some of the All-Star game?
Yeah, I actually saw the Metro and Atlantic game, the debacle that was. I saw a little bit of the Pacific Atlantic. I didn't even watch the final. I was shooting a highlight video that I just posted today for another commercial for Sports on the Hill. So, always doing something network related, but I didn't get a chance to check out the final game.
Okay, well, I'll start real quickly with the scoring, because it was entertaining at the first game, which was Central versus Pacific. It was definitely a great matchup. I really enjoyed this hockey game. I know it's 2 teams I shouldn't necessarily even care about, but I thought it was really some good hockey played. It was the Pacific scored first, and then Central scored first, and then the Pacific came back, and then basically the Pacific scored 5 goals in the second period to put it away. James Neal getting in on the action. Subban tied it to make it 2-2 at one point, but then Pacific sort of ran away with it. There was no scoring in the third period, and they were able to win it 5-2. The Metropolitans, Carol, we're talking about the first half was actually really close. Sidney Crosby had a goal with an assist to Alex Ovechkin, and then Claude Giroux had a great goal where he faked it. He was going to pass and didn't. And then Ovi got a goal with an assist to Sidney Crosby, so that's kind of weird. They went both ways. At that point, it was 3-1, and they were playing pretty well. Kucherov got his first goal of the game to make it 3-2, and then it became the Nikita Kucherov show. In the second period, he was able to tie the game up on a crazy goal. Chris Letang, it was really weird to root for Penguins in this game, scored to make it 4-3. Then it got tied 4-4. And then Brad Marchand scored, and then Nikita Kucherov got the goal to make it 7-4. But that was the ridiculous one where he faked it as if he was going left, and he did it between the legs of Holtby. And one of the most insane goals I've ever seen. Basically, it looked like he had brought the puck with him, but he never did. The puck just slowly went under the pads of Holtby, and Holtby was looking in a different direction. Made Holtby look like an idiot, which I kind of hated for him, but he looked like he was having fun out there. Obviously, Ovi was having fun too, and hopefully Trotz enjoyed it. I was super happy. I know that you want to win this thing, and the Metropolitan, by the way, won it last year. So it's not like they won the million, just the previous year. But I'm happy that they got out of it with no injuries, and they seem to have a good time and seem to enjoy it. Again, the final game was the Pacific versus the Atlantic, and usually the team that has the most amount of rest, it really screws them over. That's why the home team gets to do the second game. But this year it wasn't that way, and the Pacific really kind of took advantage of the Atlantic. The Atlantic had one less defensive player, I believe. And I thought that and one extra forward. I know that it helped them against the Metropolitan, but maybe in 2 periods in a row of these sort of games, maybe eventually that caught up to them, because it definitely looked pretty lackadaisical on some of the plays by the Pacific. I thought the Pacific played really well and deserved the championship. Mike Green did get 2 goals in that game. They got the only 2 goals for the Atlantic, continuing my Mike Green hype train. Anyway, so they lost that game though, 5-2. Nikita Kucherov wasn't able to score any in that game, even though he was able to get a hat trick. First time ever in this new 3v3 format that anybody's ever gotten a hat trick. So a fun All-Star game all around. I definitely enjoyed watching it. I look forward to the next iteration as well, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it way more than the Pro Bowl that I had on the other TV that I could barely pay attention to. So I would say they won by leaps and bounds in my mind. This 3v3 format, I think it's really exciting. Carol, what did you think overall?
Yeah, it's definitely a better format, way better than the NFL Pro, and I don't even waste my time on that. But it was definitely more entertaining, and definitely I love the new format. I didn't get to watch any last year, so it was definitely entertaining. I felt myself, getting caught up in, with the 3-on-3 format, seeing who was scoring, who would make the mistake. Unfortunately, in the Metropolitan game, in the second period, there was a lot of mistakes on the Metropolitan half that let the Atlantic back into it. But it was entertaining, it was fun, and now it's time to get back to some real hockey and make this run to the playoffs.
I totally agree. So, I guess I want to get your final thoughts on the Capitals, how they've played up until this point, since it's kind of halfway mark in the NHL season, the All-Star game. And real quickly, I talked about the guy that I want us to pick up. Carol, who would you want us to pick up, or what would you like to see changed here at the trade deadline? And what do you see out of the Capitals in the second half?
Like I said, I just want to see consistency. I want to see Kuzi and Burakovsky get consistent, whatever it takes. If it's moving them up the line, down the line, whatever, just get consistent. I don't really have a player that I desire to be on the team. Like I said, we need a defenseman, and we just need consistency. If folks start playing up to their potential, then we're fine. But if we keep on having these inconsistent loves Andre only getting 13 minutes and not doing anything. We got it. Something has to change. You can't keep on going into the playoff with the same mindset of hoping these guys click or hoping they get hot. If they're not doing it, you got to get somebody else in there. So, like you said, we got a tough stretch coming up in February, game every other day, and they got to get back on those winning ways they were before they went on that bye. And hopefully we can get some consistency, and especially with this tough schedule, they don't have no time to be messing around, especially with New Jersey on their heels like they are.
I totally agree. I'm really nervous about New Jersey, which is weird because I never thought I would say that going into the season. But they've been playing really well, and I was excited that we've been able to play them pretty well throughout this season and overall over the course of our history. But they scare me as a team that's sort of up and coming in the Metropolitan Division. So, Carol, why don't you give your final thoughts on the Caps, and then we'll start my Facebook Live video, and we'll go to this Wizards roundtable.
Like I just said, just ready to see some consistency. Hopefully, I would love to see Ovi hit 50 or 60 again, and just want to see the team do well. I said at the beginning of the season, I felt like even with them being, revamped and having new pieces and some of the old pieces being gone, that I felt this team would still be just as good. And especially with this division, being so tough, they get, a steady dose from the division and outside of it when they had these teams from the West Coast that they normally have problems with, these big teams that, normally get the Capitals issues, that do have three solid centers that can, win face-offs and make it harder on our second and third line guys. Because if you're playing defense against the other team, you're not playing offense. And we know our team isn't strong defensively. So when teams can force the Capitals forwards and wingers to play defense instead of doing their strong suit of playing offense, it's a whole new ball game. So hopefully the Caps learn their lesson and they're going to get back to winning ways. And let's go Caps as always. We're going to go ahead and end this feed right here. Appreciate everybody